let's say that there are two types of candidates who approach your team. One is AI ready, and there's another guy who is just a regular clinical research professional. Both are freshers. Whom would you prefer and why?
Today we are hiring not just for today, we are hiring for tomorrow, especially in the young workforce.
Any organization, we say culture is the secret co-founder.
Traditional schools, you sat in an office and culture meant that you all came together and it was a big happy birthday party. It's no longer that.
Do you think organizations like Parexel would welcome them even though they have a career break because of marriage and maternity?
I stand for the men in my company because, a strong presence of women, not only in the industry, but in my organization.
It's been more than a year since we started the series called as Legends of Biotech. And as we approach towards the end of our 2025, approach towards the end of the year, we are enthralled, we are super excited to talk about what all we have covered so far, but hold on a second. Did we cover about something about hiring? Well, BioTecNika is all about hiring, right? So today's Legends of Biotech, I am proud to announce to all of you that we have a leader from the hiring industry who has shaped the people, culture, strategy, talent strategy of the life sciences industry, and not just in our country, but in multiple countries like Japan, Asia Pacific, and Oceania. With nearly 3 decades of progressive experience, she has built on an extraordinary legacy across global, highly matrixed organizations such as Eli Lilly to United Health Group, Syneos Health, and now Parexel. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am proud to announce that today's guest is Ms. Mona Puri, and she's going to be joining us shortly. She is the Executive Director, Human Resource, India and Asia Pacific at Parexel. And today, she's going to not just share insights about hiring, she will tell us how a successful organization is built, what to expect from your next job at Parexel. She'll tell you what are the expectations of her organization and her team from you. And I truly believe that this is going to be one of the most exciting episodes of Legends of Biotech today. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's not waste time. Let's bring it up. Miss Mona Puri on the screen first. Hi ma'am, how are you?
Good afternoon, Shekhar. It's such a pleasure and a big honor to be here on this platform with you, and through you probably interacting with your students and young people, young budding CRO professionals. So thank you for the opportunity.
So thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. And let me get started by talking about your journey. It has been a long journey of 3 decades. If you could share some insights and about your journey in HR and life sciences overall.
Thanks. I have to say that my start in this industry was by serendipity. I'm an English honors graduate student, so science and me were far apart, but destiny had another answer for me, planned for me. And so here I am today, 3 decades later, having spent in various roles across the organizations, clinical. So I started my career with Eli Lilly, which is a pharmaceutical, major, and in various roles at Eli Lilly, and then with the United Health Group, which has a huge span, both in clinical industry as well as in the insurance and provisions. And then the last 20 years, I was at 15 to 20 years, have been in pure clinical research organizations. And so I do consider myself as somebody who has kind of, progressively built my domain knowledge, interacting with a lot of, clinical professionals and clinicians over the decades. And it's an industry that I'm so very proud to be. There are very many industries and every, I would say, job has a purpose and people feel very strongly about. But I do think that working in the clinical research organization or a clinical research industry does give you more, because it gives you the opportunity to impact people's life directly or indirectly, not just in your country or in your region, but globally. So it's something that has a very huge cause, and so it has always been my anchor.
Great. So now that we are living in the era of AI and AI in clinical research, how are you and your team designing newer hiring strategies for this domain for life sciences in India, Asia Pacific, and across the world? What are the strategies you are opting now?
So I think the last, of course, many things have changed in the last 4-5 years. One, the pandemic changed the course of hiring in the last so many years. But I think that journey had already started with the adoption of AI and machine learning over, just precursor to that. So a lot of our companies, including us at Parexel, we have started to, make that shift in our hiring strategies and our training programs based on strategic pipelining, I would say. And one of the key essentials of that is partnering with key universities and colleges across, not only in India, but I would say in a couple of other countries in the region. And we are creating strong collaborations and partnership with these universities and colleges in life sciences. And we are creating internship and career programs with them, focusing on emerging skills. So we develop relationships with them. And we are, I would say, even influencing the curricula that they are building. So, for example, in India, we have a couple of these strong partnerships. For example, we have with a leading university in North India for the last 4-5 years, in fact, more than 5 years now. And the beauty of the program is that almost 80-90% of students who come to us for internships are absorbed by us in permanent roles. We are doing a lot of work within the organization on terms of onboarding people with these critical skills. And last but not the least, I would say is in the last decade or so, I would say there has been a massive shift within the organization to focus on personalized developmental paths through digitized learning programs rather than a one-size-fits-all, which was the traditional model, whether you're talking about technical skills or technology adoption, or you talked about even soft skills. So now, more and more, it is focusing on personalized paths, and there's a very high component of digitization or technology adoption in that. And it's again relevant to individuals themselves.
Right. So let's say that there are two types of candidates who approach your team. One is AI ready and has a lot of data management, data science skill set. And there's another guy who is just a regular clinical research professional. Both are freshers. Whom would you prefer and why?
In today's world, of course, somebody who has been industrious enough to already equip themselves, even I would say not to a higher degree, but to a certain degree of awareness and adoption of AI will definitely give you the edge. Standard data management skills are now, if I may say, dime a dozen. You will have lots of students and platforms providing you that. Adoption and I would say implementation of the knowledge that one has acquired through AI is also very indicative of the perseverance of the person. So if you're talking from a candidate perspective, what am I interpreting if I have two candidates in front of me with similar skill sets? This is a differentiator. So it's not just the certification or the person the second candidate may have. It's also very indicative of the mindset of the candidate, of the future forward thinking of the candidate. So today we are hiring not just for today, we are hiring for tomorrow, especially in the young workforce. So this is a critical part.
Right. So if we look at now how Parexel is shaping the new entrance into the industry. Like you have an Aura program, I'm told about, and if you could throw some light about your internal learning and development initiatives, which is helping your new age employees in this cross-functional role which Parexel is in.
Well, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk about the Alpha and Aura programs that we have within the organization. In fact, I take great pride to share that these are strategic offerings from Parexel India, and we are now taking it to Parexel Global. Alpha program specifically talks to young professionals who are given the opportunity to join the program. Of course, you have to be a key talent, meaning you have exhibited a certain amount of proficiency, in the role that you're doing. And what we do is we bring them to the Alpha program and provide them a platform to interact with senior professionals and colleagues from diverse functions. So I would say it's function agnostic. So this gives people the opportunity to work on some small projects as well as work or interact with people from different functions, domains, and even different geographies. So enhancing the exposure, and then helps them probably crystallize in their mind if there is another path they wish to pursue or another domain they wish to explore as they further their career within Parexel or even outside. They have not a ringside view to it, but maybe a driver's seat to it as to what that may look like. So for skilling purposes, this has turned out to be very, very important for us.
Right. So, having said that, okay, this is a great initiative by Parexel, but we have of late seen that the Gen Z, as we call it, the new age youngsters who are joining the workforce or will be joining the workforce in the next 2 to 3 years, the attention span is low, and I would not say they lack patience, but they want quick results. How is the HR team or the HR division of Parexel going to adapt to this new era of new age employees or the Gen Z employees, because they are going to be the drivers of growth of any company of the future. But having said that, they have a lower attention span. They want quick results, and at the same time, we all know that we can't get quick results often, right? So, how is your team going to shape up this generation into successful entrant into your company or into the industry?
It's a burning topic, I can tell you that. What you just scratch the surface with. I would say as an agile organization, of course, we have adopted in terms of our learning and developing our employees' perspective. Of course, we also, like many other leaders in the industry, have transitioning to bite-sized learning modules. So many of our programs traditionally, as you said, 30 years in the industry. So when I started out, things were 1 day, 2 day programs. They have now become still 10 programs, each of them 15, 20 minutes. So they are faster, easier to consume. They could be consumed on multiple medias. It's not just restricted to facilitated sessions. You've got online platforms. You've got them on your phones. Everybody has a smartphone. You've got digitized platforms to do that. So we also are doing quite a lot of work in that area so that we are making accessible learning for our employees in bite forms. And I would say they are more engaging in their delivery, not the staid, running some slides kind of thing. And that is important because we have to hold the attention and think. The other thing I would say is also the adoption. So what you said, shorter spans, attention spans of people. So you got to make it more interesting. You got to make them more engaging. So we are moving towards engaging a lot of, role-based, case-based, capstone-based, project-based engagements in learning, so that people are more engaged and involved in these conversations or in these programs. But I may take the opportunity to say something which is more personal to me, which I always say when I go to universities and colleges and I meet students. I do say, I understand the urgency, I understand the speed, and I respect that. And there's a lot that you bring in with that perspective. Right. but call me old school, but I would still say, as you're starting out your career, don't be in such a hurry. The thing you would invest, the time that you would invest at this stage of your career, you wouldn't have the opportunity to do that, say, in a couple of years or maybe later.
True.
So sometimes makes me popular, sometimes not makes me very popular. But when I say to students, I say, roll up your sleeves. For the first 1 or 2 years, sit in the trenches, dig it in and do it. Get all the work that you can do. Some of the work is going to be so transactional that you will hate it. But you will come back in a couple of years because that experience would have given you some insights which will come handy. So don't go just like, things are going to happen like that. You got to do the work if you want to be in it for the long run.
Right. So I completely get it. As industry leaders, we can't be speaking always present things. We have to tell them the truth, and very rightly said that if we can't expect results in a day or two. We have to dig up our trenches and be ready. So coming back to Parexel now, so any organization, we say culture is the secret co-founder, but when you have remote employees, work from home employees, at the same time you have full-time in-office employees. How do you maintain the coherence? How do you maintain that there is a culture of innovation and people who are passionate towards work? And how do you mentor them so that this culture coaching actually leads to tangible results? What's your take on that?
I would say that now more than ever, culture has taken on a very widespread or a varied interpretation. Traditional schools, you sat in an office and culture meant that you all came together and it was a big happy birthday party. It's no longer that. Culture today in a hybrid model with workforce which is more global in nature or regional in nature. For us at Parexel, and I talk about Parexel India, more than 85% of my workforce is now hybrid. So they are no longer contained in one workspace, which was pre-COVID the reality. So coupled with that, the highly niche segment that we are in, which is a clinical research organization, which is a knowledge-driven industry. So a knowledge-driven industry, hybrid, spread out, working almost on all projects. You are on global projects or regional projects. It is important that you take everybody together and you are building towards or working towards a common goal. So coming back to your point about culture, I would say a massive investment by the organization in terms of adoption, implementation, and making available to our employees the first and foremost technology. Because what links, first and foremost, we should be able to link and connect our employees. If we can't do that, then anything else, culture and all, they can go for a walk, literally. So that's been a massive infrastructure, investment by the organization to bring in tools, technology to enhance communication, connect between organizations. We have also instituted a very strong, some documented, some formal, some informal practices on communications, virtual connects, skips, digital town halls, some of them structured communication processes regularly. Consistency, again, then plays a role when you're talking about this kind of culture is built over a period of years. It's not something, you can train somebody on a soft skill or a tech skill, I would say in days, hours, weeks. Culture takes, as I'm sure you are extremely familiar yourself, it takes years.
To get
of an organization, almost 20 years. I'm sure you're reflecting back on the journey that you've had in the culture at your organization. And the challenges even you would be facing. Team engagement is a huge thing, in a virtual world. We have team, 20 people, and they're pretty much coming from either 20 different towns or maybe 10 different countries.
And different time zones.
And different time zones. So I'm saying good morning, you're saying good evening, and there's in between some people saying good afternoon and maybe a good morning. So there has been a very concerted effort by the organization to put in a sensitization, I would say, from a cultural perspective. So we do regularly sessions with our employees especially large project teams. If you're working with somebody in Europe, if you're working somebody in Asia, if you're working somebody, and certain countries also have something very specific. So we have these culture training sessions, or we have these modules. Again, they're available with us. And if it's a large team, we also run facilitated programs so that people are aware of cultural practices, because I think I want a big barrier. I think it can be an enabler rather than a disabler. And we work towards that. We make sure that a lot of our workflows also recognize that we have virtual teams which have complexities of language, geography, and we're able to inbuild that to our advantage rather than a bottleneck. So workflow. So many times, our workflows are flowing work from one zone to the other zone. Based on when you're signing off and signing on, which is, again, in industry practice, nothing very unique that we're doing. But I think the consistency or the efficient manner in which you're able to do it drives how well engaged your workforce is. And currently, we seem to be doing okay. That's what our employees and our colleagues are telling us. Time will tell.
Right. So, Mona, if I have to look at the current generation, like I'll sort of circle back to the current generation. One of the reasons is we have a vast audience of youngsters watching our, these episodes and videos. So, how should a youngster who wants to enter the clinical research industry become ready for the future challenges of the clinical research industry, given that now we are looking at a lot of data management, AI literacy coming into picture? And also, if you could share some expectations of the HR team when a candidate goes for an interview, especially a fresher, for a job in Parexel, if you could throw some light on that.
Fair. So I would say right now, something that we spoke about at the beginning of our conversation, I think, I'm taking the baseline that your credentials as the clinical research professional are met by way of your qualification in the life sciences, segment or studies. But I say beyond that, I think adoption in your personally as a candidate, adoption of AI and data management competencies are something we've absolutely critical to any CR, what's a clinical research professional success in coming days. I would say focusing on data management competencies within that, I would say is an understanding regulatory, requirements for data integrity, implementing data validation, making sure that you are familiar with established systems and standards like CDISC, DTMs. These would be very, very critical. Additionally, if somebody has exposure or working on EDC systems or managing clinical data repositories, that would be very, very crucial and would hold somebody in good stead. While we're talking about all of this, let no student or let young professional miss on the aspect of data privacy and security. And I'm talking about HIPAA as far as this is concerned, because this is assuming significant, I would say, significance in these times. So when you supplement these skills with understanding basics, I would say, of AI and machine learning concepts, I think you're in a good place. When I say all of this, there's a lot of tech there, so I know that students will get that. What I do want to emphasize is to young clinical professionals, as you are stepping into the industry and as you're readying yourself for this role that you wish to play within the CRO space, never forget that what stitches AI, machine learning, data management, all of this is don't take your eye off on ethics within the industry. This is at times a conversational or a controversial point, depending on whom you're talking to. But I always emphasize that to all young students, that this is absolutely at the foundation of your journey. It should be, and it is a very critical aspect. So ethics in clinical research is not a course that you need to read through, but it needs to be something that is an integral part of you.
It's a doctrine which needs to be practiced. Right. That's a brilliant take on the future. So coming back to the clinical research industry, as we see the India's clinical research market is exploding. So how is Parexel leveraging this full service functional hybrid outsourcing across APAC to drive efficiency and innovation across India and various other markets? What are the steps Parexel is taking in that direction?
So you're right. Right now, it's a time of big opportunity. I would say for young clinicians who are looking to make a career in this industry. I would say that a lot of organizations, and it is evident with the absolute, I would say, explosion is the word I would use, of the setting up of a lot of, if you take the top 10 pharmaceutical companies, organizations around the world, all of them have set up, besides their captive centers, but all of them have set up their, if they have clinical, domains, segments, they have set up a significant part of that in India. And all large clinical research organizations like us have made sure that we continue to leverage India, both in its position by way of talent, the abundant availability of talent to which you and your organization and many other organizations similar to you play a pivotal role, is the pipelining, the young students that are coming. India offers a huge advantage, not only of English speaking, which is everybody knows, but it is the qualified, technically qualified, English speaking, young, adaptable clinicians that are coming, aspiring and very ambitious, that are coming into our industry, and we have access to this large pool. Now that has anchored a big part of even us. If I may say, 1 in 4 Parexel employee globally based in India. So we currently have 25% roughly of Parexel Global's workforce operating out of India, 50% in Asia Pacific. So that itself is indicative of the immense talent availability. Also, I would say the advantage of language, talent. Yes, there is a cost arbitrage, and also it's driven by talent itself. It's also driven by access, because if you're doing clinical trials, whom are you doing clinical trials? You're doing it these patients. What the region and the country, India, also offers a massive opportunity to organizations to be able to tap into demographics of patients which are varied but with higher density as compared to some of the other geographies. So a combination of what the region offers and a combination of what our talent offers together makes India and Asia at large a very hot destination. To your earlier point, how do we see, do we do FSP? Do we do full service? To be honest, that is a determination that is made largely by many of our clients. Because depending upon modalities of the protocol and the protocol of the studies or the molecules in play, they are doing, what kind of flexible workforce or dedicated workforce they would like. So that we as an organization have remained very flexible. We have all modules or all models available with us. And we do engage with our, sponsor groups, I would say. Understanding the protocols, understanding, what are they looking at, and then helping them drive the right model of engagement, offering us this. So, but what it does is that it has, in the last couple of years, it has told us that in the, hybrid is more of it. So traditionally, as you would recall, we used to have FSP models and you used to have end-to-end FSO models.
Right.
But in recent times, even with the same sponsors, we've seen that even sometimes from the same study or protocols, we will have a hybrid. They will want certain sections to be approved, the more FSP, fenced in, and more some others as more open-ended, I would say, FSO model. So there's no right and wrong answer right now. Both are pretty becoming popular.
Right. So having said that, I was just wondering while you were answering, like, okay, if like 25% of the entire workforce of Parexel is from India, that's a great stat. Coming to Asia Pacific, 50% is from India. That's amazing. But, one thing I have always seen in the jobs which Parexel posts is critical thinking, data interpretation, and these kind of skill set. But I see most students of today lacking that skill set, data interpretation, data management, as well as critical thinking and soft skills. How do you think these are very critical or less critical for your organization, and how do you rate a candidate on these? Like, how do you, judge a candidate on these?
I think critical thinking you touched on a very important thing. So I would say critical thinking has emerged as a very much sought after skill. And I think as an organization, BioTecNika, if you are looking towards how to make your students prepared, for that,
yes,
I would say there is importance and there is, climate of academia, which is, traditional impartment of knowledge. But I think moving towards case-based engagements or case-based transfer of knowledge, engagement of a higher number of industry professionals as the curriculum is developed or delivered by leading institutions. And last, I would say something that we are now doing in our organization, but I think there is a reason, to precursor this with institutes like yours, is actually a solidified approach towards Capstone project. And I use that and say that very sincerely in the sense because a lot of these give very hands-on experience to students, something that we see in youngsters coming in, and this is not a, I wouldn't hold that against them because they haven't seen otherwise or they haven't experienced otherwise, is that they have very high tendency on the academia, slightly from reality. And as you mentioned earlier, Gen Z, everything quick, right? So in that spirit of quick, if you want to get assimilated, and now the industry is also now picking up on that. So we need to make sure the students coming in are more industry ready. And institutes and organizations like yourselves need to ensure that your students are already experiencing, working in these areas before they graduate. That is a gap point right now. I mean, having worked through our academy program with a few institutes, we're trying to put that in, but we definitely see that is a lag point. So I would say that is something as industry stalwarts, if you're looking at and influencing curriculums, that is an element that is taken into consideration.
Let's look at, you mentioned about the Capstone projects. How can BioTecNika partner with your team at Parexel so that some of those projects could be brought in for our students and they could do it maybe as a remote or a hybrid or an online mode, so that we can make them ready as a pipeline of talent ready to be hired by Parexel? So how exactly that can be done? What are your thoughts on that?
So,
or do you think it can?
It can be done, and we are doing that. I think, for example, for the institutes that we do have a certain amount of relationships, as I said, as part of that internship program that we offer. So a large number of the students in this program that we have, almost about, on an average, we're taking in about 20 to 15 to 20. Earlier years, it was about 30 students in an internship program. So when they would come into the internship program, they were not, traditionally internship program, low-hanging fruits, a lot of transactional tasks. So our value add is that our interns coming in actually start working on main projects. They shadow, they study, up with some of our, live projects. So it is giving them the opportunity. And so because we take up maybe a few from particular institute at times, so they do have the opportunity. Some of them are in pharmacovigilance, some go to medical, safety, medical writing, some are there in clinical trial and logistics. So we do try and give them the exposure and the possibility to work on some projects, some capital projects. So I would say this would be an opportunity for organizations like your organization to tie up with a few industries. It's not going to be easy. I can tell you, when we started it, we had to work on some mindset change in our organization first itself. Because, these are youngsters, they don't know, are we putting things at risk? No, they're bringing in a perspective. That's why we have strong buddies or mentors overlooking them, so that, they have not only just the oversight, but also the resources or access to knowledge to make sure that they're successful. So there's no playbook on this that I can share, but I would say to start with, I think it's first is the mental makeup, and the second is the outreach from organizations like the sector industry. I think it's important for industries also, my peers, to make that outreach to leading organizations like yourself to fight on this.
Right. So having said that, what training models do you would favor? Would that be a boot camp for a shorter duration, or an internship for a longer duration, or an online simulation, or kind of a project which is completely online? Which, according to you, will be more effective for the students, according to you?
I would say, I think project-based. You'll see me kind of leading towards, projects a little bit more. The reason I do that, or, and I reflect that thinking in our organization, is because doing is learning. So, and when you're working on projects, by default, you're doing that or engaged over a period of time. It could be 2 months, it could be 2 weeks, it could be a year. What it also involves is a consistency and a perseverance or a pursuance in a particular area. Your efforts towards gaining that skill, gaining that knowledge. So for critical thinking, I would say project-based is good. Because it gives you a wider expanse to work with. Boot camps and such other mediums are good for some engaging, short snap, other aspects. The way we also inculcate a lot of this critical thinking in our team, in our organization, in our existing employee groups, we do a lot of hackathons. We push our employees to come up with their take or their creative thinking to solve problems within the organization. So we just concluded one 2 weeks ago, and whatever's going to come out from that, hopefully within the organization, we had a couple of very good models presented. And in the past, we've taken some of them and implemented it on an all-India basis or a regional basis, of course, depending on the scope of the project, or even at times globally. So that's what I would say at this point in time.
All right. So, Mona, just to circle back on the AI side of clinical research now, there is a fear, and of course, we are seeing a lot of automation coming in. And which part of clinical research do you see getting completely automated, or more of AI coming in? And how do you see the future workforce? What are the expectations of your organization? How much AI ready they should be in what part of clinical research? If you could throw some light on what's your, I would not rather say prediction, but your foresight on in this direction.
I would say what is key for a future clinical research professional to be successful, a huge part of it would be data interpretation, and there AI has, of course, a role to play. what would AI take on and what people can see moving away from their plate? Simple task executions. And we are definitely shifting, the gaze from looking at simple tasks as executing professionals to focusing more on our emerging clinicians who are coming, who have, as I said, critical output, who have the ability for critical output and assessments. Leveraging AI to accelerate insights to, for students when they're training would be very, very critical. Students should bear that in mind. Collaborative environments between therapeutic, experts as well as technology specialists will again be a very, very important part that student organization should focus on. And I would say problem solving and visualizing solutions that probably others don't is another part. Now, these are things which will have elements of AI. They will, but they cannot be substituted by AI. So this is an area that if anybody has I would say the fear, I think AI is something to be embraced. But if you something that you think, okay, with this embrace, what more can I focus on that makes me stand out or is a niche for me? These would be the areas I would say.
Right. Brilliant insight there. So, what are the expansion plans of Parexel in terms of manpower? Are you going to hire aggressively in the next 12 months? And what are the plans and at what level you are planning to hire?
Burning question. Yes, of course. So, as I already shared, with a lot of pride, I say the 1 in 4 clinicians in Parexel south of India, and we operate on an all-India basis. And I think the flexibility, and one of the few organizations which have adopted hybrid work model with such an extent. I myself am a remote employee. So I head Pharma for my organization, but I am a remote employee. And I think that stands testimony to the fact that for us, we are focused on talent and geography is not a limitation. So we see a lot of talent coming in from our tier 2, tier 3 cities, and we are embracing that. Earlier, I think the limitation of working out of a particular office, a particular location, could be an advantage, could be a limitation to probably untapped talent in many parts of the country. We now have access to that, we embrace that. So to your point, we have aggressive plans. We've grown our organization almost about, I would say, in terms of even headcount and strength, about 10 to 15% in the last couple of years. And we are continuing to look for an aggressive growth. We are also cognizant of the fact that right now the clinical research industry is going through a lot of change, a lot of consolidation, and so are so many of the biotech companies. I think so. It is a evolutionary phase, kind of. I would say the next year.
Yeah.
We remain committed, and I think we remain very, very positive for us in India and Asia. More and more sponsor companies are looking to, I won't say migrate, but have larger inclusions of 1 talent and 2 patients for clinical trials. Of course, we're all here for the patients. If the patients are not there, there are no trials. And if there are no trials, we don't exist. So
of course,
organizations are looking at more and more engagement of subjects or patients from India, from Asia. That itself is a huge driver for companies like us to be hiring more clinicians and research professionals in the country.
Wonderful. And at BioTecNika, we invite you to hire our students and people from our portal. We have a vast network of 4.5 million biotech professionals and life science professionals, which is ready to be hired. So I invite Mona, you and your team to skim through our, resume database, and you will definitely find very talented people. So I was, because I talked to a lot of professionals, and I have seen that majority of life science professionals are women, and that's something I think by now you already would agree to that. So I have seen this, that women pass through a very important phase of their life, and we call this as a marriage and maternity. So many people, many female candidates, biotech life science professionals, when they finished their degree, it was like, say, 15 years or 10 years ago. And then in the absence of opportunities then, of course, clinical research was not that huge as of today. And remote opportunities were still not, heard of. So they got married, had kids. Now they want to get started. And they're from Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. And they want to be a part of organization like Parexel. So if they brush up their knowledge on clinical research, take some training, internships or projects, do you think organizations like Parexel would welcome them even though they have a career break because of marriage and maternity? What would be your opinion in that direction?
So I'm so glad that you brought this up. So your opening line was, we have a large majority of people who are women in the industry. Well, here's an interesting stat I hope for you. At Parexel India, we employ almost, we've got our workforce, 65% of our workforce, my colleagues are all women.
Wow, that's great.
That, almost 65% of our workforce are women. And so we take great pride in welcoming all. So sometimes, in laughter, I would say people had DEI teams. I say, I stand for the men in my company because, we have such, a strong presence of women, not only in the industry, but in my organization. Coming back to your
point. Men are minority.
Minority. Well, a few places where you'll find that, but we are unique in so many ways.
Right.
Coming back to your original question, it's a reality. So as you can imagine, having a workforce which is so very highly, I would say, constituted of women workforce, we face this ourselves also internally within the organization. And we have a higher degree of, I would say, appreciation and respect for bringing women back to work. So, for example, we have in addition to having some special technical, programs which are focused just on women, we have a program called ReExcel. ReExcel program is a specific program focused only on women who have taken a break, and it could be from any industry, it could be from any company, not only from Parexel, who took a break to focus on their personal life, especially at the birth of a child, or could be some other reason also. And now are wanting to make a return back to the organization, to any organization, to the industry, and we will work with them. So the ReExcel program, and if there's any student of yours or any woman professional out there who's looking to come back to the clinical industry, this is my call out to them. Connect with us through our website. We have details put out there for the ReExcel program, and we run this actually, Suman, if I may say, we started this pilot with India. So this is again one of the key projects that we started in India. It was about a year or 2 years ago that we started this. And we're bringing, women, one person by one person, bringing some success to it. So here's my call out to everybody. If somebody is looking to make that return, get in touch with us.
Wow. So Parexel is ready with ReExcel to help you excel in the clinical research industry. Wonderful insights there, Mona ma'am. And to all my audience out there, I hope you enjoyed today's session. This was the first time we invited someone from human resource into our podcast, and I believe this was one of the wisest decisions we ever made, because hiring is the soul of BioTecNika. We help so many companies hire good candidates from our platform, but at the same time, I see so many rightful, talented people struggle just because of not being aware of the opportunities, just like what ma'am said about ReExcel. So out there, everyone, remember there is always opportunities, but especially to the Gen Zs, as ma'am said, you have to be ready for the change. Expecting results that too quickly is not going to work out. However, that aggression is widely appreciated by the industry. Moving forward, we would like to thank Mona ma'am for joining us today for this session. I thoroughly, personally enjoyed interacting with you. And last thoughts from you to our audience. One line thought from you, ma'am. Over to you.
Thanks. Mona is just fine, Shekhar. And I would say that before I say the one line for the students, maybe I would say it has been an extremely enriching conversation to have had with you, and I look forward to engaging with your students and inviting them to our organization. I hope this is the start of something strong in coming times. And to the students, I would say is cultivate your curiosity. I think that is something that you should never let go. Cultivate your curiosity. This is something that our CEO, our MD for India, Mr. Sanjay Vyas, he is almost patented it. You always say that, curious minds. So as a young budding person, you should always cultivate your curiosity, but at the same time, balance that with the, I would say, the patience to put in the work if you want to be a great and a good, successful clinical research professional in good time.
Wow. Thank you so much for your insights, Mona. And to our audience, cultivate your curiosity, nurture your career, and get ready, because Parexel is going to hire aggressively across the geographies. And whether you are from India or abroad, get ready, because Parexel is right there. But you have to be having the right skill set, right mindset, right curiosity, and zeal to do something great in the industry. Thank you so much once again, Mona. And to our audience, we'll see you soon in the 13th episode of Legends of Biotech. Till then, take care, keep shining. Bye-bye.